I'll start with the Man City game. So 6 weeks ago, in fact, 6 weeks ago, I laid down a pattern of how I thought Manchester City, first of all, were not pressing well. And because they were not pressing well, it's easier for teams to exploit their high line, play through their press, exploit their high line. And a month ago, that was 4 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, after the Brighton game, I came back and I showed you a certain pattern of how Brighton were exploiting Man City's high line, especially in the second half. When they stretched the play, they put two players in between, or one player in between the right back and the right centre back. So it was a Brighton player, Man City defender, a Brighton player, Man City defender. And when they hit the ball diagonally, the City right back, who was Walker on the day, wasn't quite sure who should go and mark. And that was creating a huge gap between them. They got the ball, committed bodies for swinging crosses, and they were causing City damage. Now, Spurs did a very similar thing, and I'll show you here. So, this is Tottenham Hotspur's first goal. Defender picks the ball up, and this is exactly what happened in the Brighton game. So you look at Pedro Porro's run and his posture. He's going in this direction. This is his posture. So Vardiol has one eye on Pedro Porro and has one eye on Kulusevski, who is down here. And this is exactly what Brighton did, and I'll show you in a moment. This is exactly what Brighton did, only that Brighton mirrored it on the left-hand side. So the same thing has been done. Pedro Porro, he knows his job is to cause confusion with Vardiol. He's not necessarily, he knows he's not the target, but his starting position moving into Vardiol allows or causes Vardiol to hesitate and make sure he steadies the flight of the ball before he makes the action. So when play proceeds, you look, Vardiol, if you notice, Vardiol turned to look at Pedro Porro before he goes to go and handle Kulusevski. And that is very similar to what Brighton did.
Yeah, it's caught in two minds.
Caught in two minds, which will allow
it delays your reaction to the other side.
Will allow Kulusevski to get the first ball. Now, once they're able to isolate him one-on-one with Kulusevski, they know Kulusevski has the skill to beat him. And then as soon as Kulusevski picks up the ball, look at the bodies they commit into the box. And that's a similar thing that Brighton also did. So Kulusevski gets the ball now. He has the skill and strength to turn. And once he turns, the runners who are making their way
immediately
to the box. So Solanke is there. Maddison is making a run. Son is also lingering around. And because of Son's run, Walker can't close the space, this space between himself and John Stones. So it's basically a pattern that we are seeing Manchester City suffer week in, week out. And then Maddison makes brilliant run. Kulusevski finds him. The ball is in the back of the net.
Why didn't Gundogan pick up the Maddison run?
Gundogan, he's not a defensive midfielder. So instinct is also...
So there's that.
There's also that. Now, so I'll take you to the Brighton one. This thing I've explained, this is Brighton again. And I told you, they were basically just mirroring it on the other side. So Brighton have a player in between this is Joao Pedro. In between Manchester City's right back and the right centre back. And there's a Stupinian who is, I think somebody is down here, making... Mitoma, exactly, stretching play. So, Walker was confused. Similar body orientation to what we saw Vardiol do. He didn't know when the long ball was coming. He didn't know if to go for Mitoma or to go for Joao Pedro. Ball goes in, Joao Pedro takes advantage. And then it goes on. This one chance. We'll see another one again. He missed this one. But we'll see another one again, replaying basically the exact same thing. So we see it again. Just go back slightly. We see it again. So you see the Mitoma, Joao Pedro again, in between, exactly where they want it. Play it in between the two centre backs. And then as soon as they pick up the ball, bodies are committed, getting across. This was Brighton's, this was Brighton's first goal in the game. There was a scuffle here and then...
So they're exploiting those pockets of space.
So we've seen it play out 2 times. And another thing I mentioned also was, because Manchester City are not pressing as well, teams are now bold to press them high up the pitch, very aggressive. 6 weeks ago, I showed you clips of Newcastle doing it. I showed you clips of Fulham doing it. So I'll take you back to Newcastle. This is the Newcastle-Manchester City game. Man City were trying to build. Now look at the number of players Newcastle have committed into the Manchester City final third to press. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is Newcastle facing Manchester City. Wow. And this is why I was saying these were red flags for me, because in the past, you will not dare commit these much bodies up high.
The confidence
To do it. Because
the
audacity, because teams have realized that Manchester City are not as comfortable playing through the back as they used to be. A while ago, a season ago, 2 seasons ago, 3 passes and you are done. And Man City have played 3 and you are done. But this time, teams are having the boldness to do it. And we saw it. They win the ball back. This ended up being a chance. Obviously, they didn't score. But you look at the Tottenham second goal. And, okay, this is it. So the Tottenham second goal, let me just skip through. Okay, so let's, I think, somewhere here. Fantastic. Yeah. So Tottenham are pressing high. Now look at the bodies again. There's Son, there's Madison. Okay, let me pick this. There's Son, there's Madison. These are players that this Man City trying to build from the back. And Spurs have committed bodies. They've swarmed the box. And the aggressiveness, look at how aggressive they are going to be in the press. They've swarmed them, and as soon as they pick the ball up, bodies are coming forward. There are options. Son with a brilliant reverse pass, and the ball is in the back of the net. So see, this City problem, it didn't start today, as I told you 6 weeks ago. It didn't start today. And that's why sometimes result-oriented analysis is not necessarily the best. The signs were there. They were winning, but the signs were there. And I'll link it to Citro's praise of Arne Slot. Liverpool are not as convincing to me as maybe Citro may think. I think there are some signs. Liverpool they are just a bit too prolific this season. They create 3 chances, they are scoring.
That's right.
And that is not normal. So you start to think that when it starts to dwindle down, which will happen, and they are conceding chances also. Teams are getting in behind them. But at the start of the season, Alisson was making brilliant saves. Kelleher is making brilliant saves. We are seeing those signs. Sometimes they concede scenarios, but the teams are not able to make that final pass, which will turn into a golden opportunity. But they need to fix something. I think they've been brilliant, but they've also had luck on their side. But coming back.
Let's talk about Mourinho's Man United. Did we see any signs about what he's trying to do with this team? Because,
look,
what are those signs? Okay, you have barely about 2 minutes.
We saw clear, look,